That was intense.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches. Not to be confused with Books and... Oh, you weren't thinking.
Twetches.
There it is.
I'm Kristen, and with me I have...
Terica.
And Maria.
And
Olivia.
And Olivia. If you were here a couple weeks ago and listened to our Fated Enemies podcast, we have one of the authors of that book here with us, Olivia.
Both of the authors are here.
Oh, yeah, I guess Erica wrote it too.
Both of the authors are here.
Whatever.
Thank you.
Erica's like, I'll just see myself out then.
Okay, well, Olivia is not a normal guest on this podcast, or a normal podcast.
We're both here.
Yes, you're both here. And actually,
fuck up.
this episode, we're actually talking about both of you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we already
fucking
did
shit.
we already did an entire episode about the book that they wrote together. If you want to listen to that first, then go for it. But this episode is about their writing process.
This is a whole to-do over here.
So if you're an inspiring writer, or you want to dabble in it, or you're just interested, this will be a good episode for you, because we
There's a
can.
yawn.
Erica's yawning.
Bless you. Oh.
Bless you. Literally, bless your heart. This will be good for anybody who wants to write. Right?
I think so. Or not.
Or it might be just like interested in co-writing. There's a lot of romance books that are co-written.
Yeah, it's true.
lot.
It's true.
Co-writing is a fascinating thing, in my opinion, because I feel like it's really hard to do. And I talked about this in the Fated Enemies episode of just like, art being subjective and trying to come together and have the same opinion about something that you're passionate about. I think a lot of people should do that in real life. I think we should all try to do that more. So I'm excited to hear how this process happened. I'm excited to hear all those things. But
I think the biggest part of this is picking your partner, right? And knowing how you are, understand I think you have to be a pretty like what's the word when you like can see yourself self-aware.
Yeah.
You need a lot of self-awareness and know like the type of person that you are and the type of person that works well with you. So if you don't have a strong understanding of the type of person you are in a team setting, you need to figure that out before you partner with somebody.
For sure.
that's fair. But how do you find the perfect partner?
I think you have to you have to know yourself and like what you lack, and then figure out like, is there somebody that I know that has some of the same ideals that I value, but also are good at other things that I may not be good at.
That's fair.
I think that's
For sure.
So
I think Olivia is really, really good at like exposition and like descriptions and like making sure like scenes feel more like well-rounded. And I think that's not something that's not my strength. I'll say that. Not all authors can do all of these things, right? But like,
For sure. Yeah,
it's not my strength in my writing, in my opinion. So
Yeah, Erica's really strong with like the story and like where we are, like where it's going, why things are happening, like the emotional aspect. Like Erica's really good, I feel like, connecting to the reader.
Yeah.
Like I'm really good at like telling people what to see.
yeah,
And Erica's really good at being like, okay, now feel what I feel.
that's a really good
Yeah.
dynamic to have, I feel like. Then how did you guys start? So walk me through the beginning, right? Erica, you've written a book before. Olivia, you've written a couple books before. So you're both authors. You've like established like writing. So what? Just walk me through the beginning, coming up with the idea to write a book together. Like, how did this whole thing play out? You don't fucking know.
Well, I was drunk. No.
Imagine it happened when they were at the party in
I wouldn't be
Providence.
surprised.
Like, let's write a book together.
I could see that.
I mean, again, it started with the collabs,
The collabs.
the collaborations
Yeah.
with the reels, and then I think like we just started like spitballing ideas and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and then I think I don't know, I have no idea who brought it up first.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Did you guys land on this idea first, or did you have like
I think
other ideas you
I
were
think
bouncing with?
At first, we knew we wanted to do a shifter book.
Okay.
because
That was my next
we
question.
had a bunch of ideas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had like, we got into like a Google Doc. And we had like, 4 or 5 different possible plots.
Yeah,
Okay, so you
But
started.
we knew that we wanted it to be a shifter book.
we started this process knowing we wanted to write a book together and
Okay.
do like half and half.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it originally was supposed to be a novella.
Oh, yeah.
it?
Originally,
Okay.
it was supposed to be short.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we started plot outlining. We were like, nah, fuck it.
So the first thing that you guys did when you decided, all right, this is it, we're doing it, we're writing a book, was you started a Google Doc. Was this just like a free form doc, or was it like an Excel sheet? Like what? Walk me
She
through
will
that.
show
Pull
you.
it up.
Oh,
Pull it
show
up.
you.
Pull it up.
I think Google, saying that tip, Erica, I think was one of your best tips that you ever gave as a writer. I think you made a really good point. If you're writing a book or you're writing something, Google Docs to me makes the most sense, because then you lose the excuse of like, I'm in this really cool place. Well, I don't have my document with me, so I can't really that excuse is gone.
Yeah,
if you have
you're
internet,
absolutely right.
you can fucking write your book.
It's very
You can do it on your
user-friendly
phone.
to do Google
Yep.
Docs. There are other websites, or at least softwares. I have Scrivener on my computer.
Oh,
which
yeah? Do you like that?
I like it. I think it's worth the money if you're doing that one-time payment.
Sure.
I don't like that I have to pay again to use it on my iPad.
Oh, nice.
That bothers me.
Yeah.
But the desktop version is pretty cool because you can really just
Wait, you do have to pay again?
So if you want the iOS version,
Why?
you pay again. You pay another
Yeah, that
extra
doesn't make
fee
sense.
to have it, and then you have to sync through Dropbox to have like the stuff on both softwares.
You need like a middleman app?
Yes, it's
Sounds
stupid. But if you
very
are predominantly
frustrating.
on your desktop writer and you're not going to go anywhere, you're not
Yeah.
going to go try to find like a coffee shop with bad Wi-Fi, Scrivener is great because you're able to really break down your project into certain like things. You can do a whole outline section. You can do a whole like scene card section and
cool.
character section, and it really
You know,
helps you
Microsoft-
organize
Yeah.
your stuff.
Microsoft Word has a similar add-on called OneNote.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
I love
OneNote's
OneNote.
great.
Which will
OneNote's
break
great
it
too.
down. I've never
There are a
used
lot of
Scrivener,
options. There's
so I don't know,
there's no
but-
excuse these days to not be able to write your book.
True.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I just liked it being. I like the Google Docs thing just because it's like on the internet, right?
Yeah.
and you can
Yeah,
access
in the
it.
cloud.
that
I-
was really convenient for us.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to do something with somebody else.
Collaboration,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very
You're-
good for
it
collaborating.
updates in real time. You
Mhm.
have the accessibility to it. Like, the only thing that kind of sucked is there was one time where I wrote something offline and tried to put it back online, and that
Oh.
really got messy.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it was a
Oh.
bitch.
Another thing that happened was apparently there is a comment limit
Oh.
in the doc, so we had to like open
to
up
do
a
a
second doc
yeah.
and like
No
like-
way.
Yeah, so like even if you
Interesting.
resolve them, there's a comment limit like overall. Like
Even
the
if you
document
resolve them?
That's
can only hold
dumb.
so much.
No way.
Well, I think maybe Google Docs wasn't anticipating people writing full-length novels.
I mean, yeah, probably.
That's
But-
fair.
Yeah, it's kind of so for writers out there, you might run into that. I don't know, but
That's really interesting.
yeah.
There's a lot of
Otherwise, though,
edits.
like really, I feel we did edit. We edited a lot. We edited a
We
lot.
did a lot.
We spent a lot of time
Yeah.
editing.
So with the original Google Doc, was that just like a sheet, or was it like an Excel type thing?
We have, I mean,
Try to
I'll hold
explain
it.
it
I'll hold
too.
it.
you can kind of see how like the actual documents here. Olivia did a really good job with like actually putting headers and shit, so that it's easy to like.
That's the only way I know
Navigate.
how to navigate. I can't. I need headers.
If you're not watching this podcast, I totally recommend going over to our YouTube channel. Just look up Books and Betches. You'll be able to actually see physically the document that they created, which is really cool. But it's basically like a Word document. They have a whole bunch of ideas with different
Just
headers.
a lot
and
of stuff that
Yeah.
we had like.
Wow, there's a
planned
lot
out.
in there.
Yeah.
Is that
Um,
just
There's
ideas?
like a dozen pages on that.
No,
Wow.
so
No.
this is like we had like a publishing timeline in here.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
had
that's the plot outline. The plot outline is in there too.
plot
Yeah.
outline. I didn't use this as
Character
much, but
sheets.
I think Olivia did was like some of this like the setting, the history, some
Yeah.
of like
Oh,
the
that's cool.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted there to
Um,
be like something for us to reference. So
Yeah.
like there were times where we would write, or like one of us would be writing, and we'd have to like reach out to the other, like what color is Zora's hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like I forget.
I was
or
gonna
if we
ask,
write it down somewhere.
Yeah.
What kind of outliner are you? Are you super
I-
detailed?
I'm
like
pretty
Erica
detailed.
is?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
detailed.
She's
yeah.
more detailed than even I am.
Ooh.
I'm pretty detailed. I try not to leave anything up for like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
later.
Right.
Plot holes and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I try.
So we ended up doing a full like outline too as well.
Well, that was what I was gonna ask. Like, how do you make an outline with
Oh, is
two
this it?
people? Like, that's got to be kind of hard, right? Did you each you did an outline for Dallas and you did an outline for Jack, or was it an entire book outline that you did together?
We did the whole book.
Yeah, it was the
Okay.
whole book.
Yeah, but at first we didn't like start from chapter 1. Like
Okay.
we came to the table each with like our own gists.
Uh-huh.
And then we, eventually found this gist with like, I don't know, parts of her story, parts of my story, or parts of this and parts of that.
Yep.
And put it together into this one. And that's where we started. So like we created a timeline. So
Okay.
like this happens, this happens, this happens. And then we added chapters into that.
to
Oh,
how
that's
that
cool.
like works.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as we write, like especially for me, I can't speak for her, but like sometimes the chapter takes me somewhere that I didn't
Yeah.
anticipate.
Mm-hmm.
And while I want to stay with what we have to some degree, sometimes it didn't make sense to add all of what we had,
For sure.
or I needed to add more to it.
Yeah.
So I had to take from the chapter after, or I had to remove stuff, and that obviously shifted
both.
our.
Yeah, like all of that chapter with Jack's mom, that wasn't really in the plot line. Like we
wow.
touch on it in the
Yeah.
plot line, but I didn't like writing that whole scene with Jack's mom where she's like in the house was like that was completely just like I didn't even know if we were gonna leave it in
Okay.
at that point.
Yeah, there was a couple of chapters we nixed.
And Zora was later. We added Zora like way late in.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zora was the last.
Thank God you did.
as the
That's
story like evolved, we realized some things needed to like be adjusted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we kind of made
Always.
those adjustments, and then we were like, all right, well, if we do this, we need it to be like
Mhm.
this, and that means we need another character here, and this
Right.
feels empty here, and like, so you're like, you have this idea in your head, and then you're literally like changing it as you go.
Yeah.
That's
Is
so
that
wild.
hard?
Yeah, it's
Is
super
that hard to
It was
get out
hard
of
to-
your
It's
ideas?
hard to do it with somebody else.
creatively. It's hard. Yeah, it is hard. Yeah. It's hard with the communication. Maybe it would have been easier if we were like sitting
next to each other. That's what I was gonna say
Yeah.
too.
But, you know, over text, like not every, you know what I mean? Like not everything translates or
Yeah.
like whatever, right? So yeah, it's a little difficult. But like every writer experiences that at
True.
some point. Like your plot always like turns a little bit. That's where like all side plots come from.
Yeah,
You
that's a
know?
good point.
So
But the side plots are always my favorite too.
Yeah,
Because
right.
it's like, how did you even think of that? Like,
Mhm.
and the way they tie into the story is always really neat. And like, there's so much that goes into a story. Like, you have all your characters, but then you also have like this curse thing, and then you also have the murder and like
Mhm.
plotting that. So it seems like it's a lot of things that
Yeah.
you're trying to like stay on top of. So it makes sense to me.
And
that you
then
have
like
an outline.
also like some of the details aren't hammered out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, right.
have
that's like
thick
the thing.
thoughts.
That's like the thing about fantasy when you're writing fantasy, you write fantasy the way that you like paint a portrait.
Yeah.
Where everything in the front is in focus.
Mm.
Like easily understandable, digestible by the person viewing it, and in the back you can see that there are mountains,
Yeah.
but that's all that you really know. Like
That's
you
a
just
great way
know
of
that
I love
they're
that
there.
analogy. Yeah.
That's a great way
So
of
that's
putting it.
a lot, and the Fated Enemies is a lot like that. Like we just wanted the reader to experience the story,
That's cool.
the fun stuff, you know. Like
Mhm,
we didn't need
mhm.
to dive deep. It's not like a
Mhm.
high fantasy, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I love that.
I thought it was a
Um,
perfect length of a book too. It's like right under
Yes.
300 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
300 is my like bread
It's
and butter.
it's
for
a
books.
great length. It didn't feel too long. It didn't feel too short.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Just
it's
right.
like honestly, reading a new author, I don't want to read a book that's that long.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah. I
You
hear
know what I mean?
Did you
Like,
plan that from the start then? You were like, let's keep this around here? Because you
Yeah.
said you were talking about a novella at first.
Yeah, in the beginning we were like, let's just write like a short story, like something fun. And then once we like had the plot, we were like, okay, well this is gonna supersede
Yeah.
25,000 words. Like
Yeah, wow.
this is not a novella anymore. So that's when Erica was like, okay, let's aim for this.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, all right, right on.
I really didn't want, and the big part of it was marketing in terms of like readability.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with anything other than like, in my opinion, I don't pick books up
Mhm.
that are over
That's
a
cool.
certain
Yeah.
amount of pages by a new
And
author.
if you are, it's just you have to have a really good synopsis to bring that person.
Yeah.
in.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, they
I
always say, right
I
what you
think
know.
this is a lot easier for somebody to be like, oh, it's only 200 something pages. Like, yeah, I'll
Mhm.
read this.
Yeah.
That's true.
Versus like
And
it's,
if it's
400.
400,
Yeah, that's true.
Like maybe I don't pick that up.
So what came next? So you have your outline now. After you already like you went through all these ideas through your Google Doc, you have your outline. Like, what's the next step as far as like getting that first chapter written or like putting pen to paper? Were you like, all right, you go write all of your stuff, I'll go write all of my stuff?
No,
No,
like that.
so we went yeah, we kind of went on our own. So that's the thing,
We
right?
didn't get too far ahead of each other.
yeah. So like we wrote chapters 1 and 2 at the same time.
Oh, okay.
We
then,
knew that they
like-
were going to happen at the same time. We knew that they were the same moment. We were each writing. We were just each writing the first one from Dallas, and we wanted to open with Dallas.
Yep.
So we wrote the first from Dallas's perspective, and while she was writing that, I wrote it from Jack's perspective. And
Okay.
I highlighted things that were probably subject to change depending on what Erica wrote.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
we had the setting, like the church yard setting. Like we had that, so that was like understood. I feel like we didn't say that they were going to be like in a clearing, but like they're in a clearing.
It
Come
was-
on,
it
it's
was
a big
huge.
movie, right? They're in a fucking
Yeah.
clearing,
Yep.
right? So after that, we would like go in, and that happened throughout the book.
Okay.
where we wrote at the same time, or like every once in a while I would write like, because I'm a mood writer in a big way. So when I start writing, I'll write like I won't write for like 2 days, and then I'll write like 10,000 words in a day.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I write like a lot at a time, especially when I'm like, if I'm not creatively stimulated, I won't.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I won't even bother.
That's the problem I'm coming across, is like I need to be in a good creative mood
Yeah.
to write, and because I have a job,
I encourage that.
yeah, because I have a job in a creative field, I get too burnt out.
No, I feel that.
So I'm super burnt out from editing all day, and so I can't sit and write. It's like,
Do you copy edit?
no, I video edit.
Oh.
So because I'm doing that
Just
all
the
day,
I was gonna say you're
Yeah.
looking at words all day already.
yeah.
no, I'm
Feels
looking,
the
I
same
think
for
for
images.
me, like
Yeah.
I have a very like my 9 to 5 is 9 to 5, but it's a lot of like brain power.
Yep.
So like my job essentially is like a lot of problem solving. It's a lot of like figuring out stuff, and like I'm using a lot of my brain. And if I have a bad day at work, like I'm fucking fried.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I am just fried,
I feel
and
that.
I had a lot of weeks where I had some bad days at work. So
Yeah.
it was hard to try to like
Well, that's the other thing, is managing
be
your
a good
time.
partner
Yeah.
to Olivia too, because
No, but you were
she
good, though.
couldn't get too far ahead of me, because the chapters like they
Right.
might not line up the way that we had to edit some stuff.
But fairly though, I would also write like in advance.
Yeah.
So like by the time Erica was like, I need a break, like it was fine.
You
like
were
we had
already
caught
there.
up, you know, like we're good. Like it's okay. We could take a fucking break. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
fine.
it sounds
We're
like
due
the
for
best
a break.
partnership between you two.
Yeah, it does
I think
seem solid.
I think
we
you just
did
like
good.
need some understanding, and that
Yeah.
like you're the person that like that you're partnered with or you're partnering with, like they might not work at the same pace as you. They have
Right.
other shit going on in their lives. Like
Definitely not always.
Yeah.
Like regardless of like our schedules, like we would have had to be on the same exact schedule every day
Yeah.
to like have the same
Yeah.
hours every day. You know, like there just has
It's
to be
just,
like
you know, we have two different types of jobs too. Like yours is a lot more physically demanding. Like it's a different. It's just totally different.
Yeah,
and then
totally.
like we have different stuff going on in our lives, and
Right.
like
yeah right.
It is interesting though. So when you would finish a chapter, because you said you write them simultaneously, when you would finish, would you feel like you finished around the same time, or like would you be like, hey, I finished this, and you're like, well, I need like 5 more days? Like, would you set
that was a
times?
5 day. We tried to do timelined. Like we tried to.
Okay.
Oh,
we
yeah,
tried to
yeah,
do
yeah,
some
yeah.
like some goals in terms of like times, but again, like sometimes
what it
didn't.
is,
It
yeah.
like sometimes
Yeah,
I just
right.
couldn't hit deadlines.
Yeah, like
Totally.
life gets in the way.
So
and
did you
stuff.
edit chapter by chapter?
That was
then?
my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Or you gotta edit
So
on the way.
so we didn't get too far. Like I don't think we got more than 2 chapters
Before you started
ahead
editing. No,
before
yeah,
we started
no.
editing.
Oh,
So
okay.
how do you like that? Because you both have written books separately, right? So I would assume you guys have written your drafts and then go back and edit.
Yeah.
Is this the
So-
first time you've both like written and then edited as you go?
Yeah,
Erica,
for me.
well, Erica edited Retreat as I went,
Oh.
or at least book 2. Maybe book. I don't remember if book 1 was done
I don't either.
when I gave it to you, but book 2, she edited that as
As
wrote
you were
it.
writing it.
Did you
Yeah.
like that better, or do you like just writing it all and then going back?
It's less work.
For self-editing, I think I prefer to write it all,
Yeah.
and then go back. But like to have an editor come in and like do the editing while it's just
My thing is,
faster.
and
like,
I
I'm like, I don't know.
I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. Maria, maybe even you. When I write, if I write one chapter, I find myself hung up on rereading that chapter
Yes.
1,000 times.
I can't even finish the paragraph without rereading it. And be
Yeah.
like, no, it's wrong.
Yeah, same.
You
Because
have
I-
to
you
just
put so
move
much
on.
You have to
pressure.
be
Yeah.
And
gentle
I'm
with yourself.
trying to do that.
I think a lot of people do that.
I
That's the
wish
problem with
for the
self-editing,
day-
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish for the
It's
days
hard. It's very-
of,
yeah.
Back in middle school, I used to write in a composition book.
Oh, that's
All
cool.
my stories.
Nice.
And I never edited shit. I just went and I just wrote
Yeah.
and wrote and wrote. And there was a freedom to it.
There is
Yeah.
a freedom in
and
that.
I one of my best friends in middle school, she'd read my stuff. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, this is so fun, right? Now as
Oh my god, we were like the same person. In middle school.
Oh.
It's crazy.
now that
That's
I'm
cute.
older, I look at my own stuff and I'm already putting so much pressure behind it because
Yeah.
we're reading so many great books
Yeah.
and you want to be on that same pedestal as they are.
Right.
But it's like it's rude to myself.
Yeah,
It's
you gotta
like,
go
just
back
let
to being a
let
kid.
it go through first,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then you can go back and finesse.
Well, did you guys feel that pressure, like going by? Did you get hung up on things a lot more? Like you're like, okay, well, I'm reading this first chapter. Did you find yourself like going through it a whole bunch of times, being like, especially reading each other's.
Like each other's work?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I wrote my chapters.
Oh, you didn't read your own. You just sent it off and was like,
Well,
"Here you
no.
go."
So we
No.
did it at the end. So as we went, we
Okay.
each edited each other's work. Like
Oh, okay. Got
proofread
it.
and like
That
light
helps,
line
I
edit.
So
feel like.
Content editing.
Yep.
What I did for mine, at least, like I wrote mine. I did like a quick run through of the
Okay.
chapter, edited what I
Of
thought
course, right.
like I needed to like adjust, and then Olivia went in and line edited, which
Okay.
is like a really really heavy edit.
That's what I was gonna say. How was that process? Like, did you find yourself giving each other a decent amount of notes, or was it pretty?
Yeah, I think so.
were they
yeah.
story notes too, or just like mostly?
Well, we
grammar?
had most of the story laid out.
True.
So like if
Outlining
something
helps.
was like new, then like Erica would highlight something before. Like we knew at like any point if either of us were adding something that wasn't
Right.
like original to the plot line. So Erica would like highlight something, or I would like highlight something and be like, "What do you think of this?"
Okay.
And then at that point we
Yeah.
would like talk about it, or I would like suggest maybe something, or like vice versa or whatever.
cool.
Yeah, and I think sometimes I have like a unique way of I've read a couple of my books, like I have a unique way of telling stories, and I think
Yeah.
Olivia matched her way, like like had to like reel me back in
Yeah.
into like
So
A
we
more-
sound our
Yeah.
Yeah.
chapters
Yep.
sound
So,
like
like-
they're coming from the same book.
Which it
and
did,
I
and I
I had to
and vice versa though. Like I have a very high fantasy way of like writing.
Yeah.
So
Like,
Erica
yeah, I
would
had
be like,
to-
"You need to chill. Like this is not. You're not Tolkien. Like don't
Yeah.
get cocky.
Give it
I'm
a-
like no true fair.
give it some like softer
Yeah,
softer words
love
or
that.
like
easily digestible.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think dialogue was something that I harp on more than anything. Like
yeah.
for me, I care less about like the sentence structures. And I care more about like what's actually being said. And I think
Totally.
Olivia sometimes like changed some of my sentence structures in
Yeah.
terms of like
Oh yeah, 90% of the edits I make with Erica stuff is just moving her
Like,
content
words
around.
around.
Yeah, literally, like she'll do like she'll write some dialogue, and then she'll write like the exposition attached to that dialogue.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
like it's two pieces, and I'm like, but what if you did this? What if you,
I
what
love
if you
that.
just did the first half of the dialogue here?
Yep.
and then
Yeah, it
pulled
was
the
a lot
last
of-
part out to the end.
it was a lot of a lot of my
that.
edits were a lot of movement.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
reformatting what I had
Structure,
already
yeah.
said and structuring and that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of mine was more like adding stuff to yours.
No, yeah, definitely, it always is. Even with retreat, it's always
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like just
Yeah.
adding.
Yeah.
My next question would be: is there anything that you learned from each other that you are now going to do for any future
good
project?
question.
I try to be more conscious when I'm writing about like motives
Yep.
because of Erica's editing that she's done. I have it better, right? Erica has edited like all of my work in like the last 6 months. I think she's like had eyes on like everything I've published.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
though.
I
Erica,
learned about
podcaster,
motives.
mom,
Big from
editor.
Erica.
I've learned a lot. Like she said, like I think about my sentence structures and I think about varying the ways that I say things sometimes. Or like just I try to think about like writing plainer almost too, like not giving like these like crazy like
Simple.
Yeah.
I need to simplify myself a little
Totally.
bit more, and I think that is gonna help me writing like more clear. And I think that's what sometimes you do for me is you like kind of just clean out some of the
Yeah.
fluff,
I
the
cut.
fluff.
I do that with my own stuff too. When I self edit, I cut like so much. Like I always overwrite.
Yeah, that's a good.
And then I
idea.
always go in and I like super condense. Like sometimes I'll only be left with like a sentence.
And then
cut, like,
Erica's
a
like, add
paragraph.
more.
Yeah.
You're like, I just
She's
cut
like,
all that.
where the fuck did the story go?
No, I think that's smart. I
Yeah.
think that's really cool.
But
That's
again, like,
video editing.
it's finding a partner that
Yeah.
has different like we
Strengths.
both value getting feedback.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and not being like tied to something so
I
strong.
think you need to be someone who's okay with
So-
getting
yeah.
criticism and not being so.
because if
butthurt
you
about
honestly, if
Yeah.
you saw like the docs that you'd be like this, she rewrote your entire like
Yeah.
She hates you.
chapter.
But that's what editing is.
But
all I did was
okay.
move it.
you know what I mean? But like that, you
Right.
might look at that and get
Yeah.
upset
Yeah.
and be like, "What the fuck?" But it's like, no,
Right.
this is one. She's just making it better, and two, like this is like what it is. You know what I mean? Like you have to.
Right.
And it's not like I had to accept all of it.
Would you say this interaction with Olivia was better and changed your perspective, how you were with your first editor that you had for Flight Risk?
No, because she didn't do a line edit for me.
She just did story editing.
Mhm.
Okay.
I feel like, Olivia, you know that Maria, Erica, and I come from the video world.
I do know.
So
Yes, I do know.
our whole career is getting feedback.
That's my whole life.
Our whole career is putting everything you have into like a story and then it getting ripped apart. And you
Your
have to,
baby getting destroyed
so
every time.
we really had to learn to just like put those things aside, to be like, okay, this is for
gonna-
the better of the
yeah.
story. Like, how do you find yours? Like, how do you feel like you're in that boat too, where you're like okay with these edits and stuff? Like, you know, it's for the good of the story. Like,
Oh,
how
yeah.
did you get there? Like, I feel like it's not.
I told
easy.
Erica when we started, I was like, rip me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I want it to be good,
Mm-hmm.
not just in my head.
Have you
know?
always felt like that? Like, or did it take
Oh
time
yeah,
to get
no,
there?
no, no, yeah. I've
That's
always
awesome.
been like that. Yeah.
That's awesome, because I feel like a lot of us, it took us like time.
It's still taking me time.
Yeah,
I get
totally.
that.
I think in video, at least in my job, I'm better at it now.
Yeah.
I've always said that my V1
Same.
is my baby.
Yep.
Once we get to V2, it's no longer mine.
Oh.
If you want to change, we'll change it. I don't
Yeah.
care.
well,
Me too.
I
But
feel like that sometimes.
when it comes
Yeah,
to,
sure.
to my writing,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm there yet. I can't even send
feel
something
you.
to somebody else to look at
Yeah.
because it's too close to me now.
Like there are some times where like I was writing stuff that I was like, if she would change like certain things, and I was like, I don't give a shit enough to like to say no to this. Like, you know what I
People should
mean?
be
Like
this
I was
way.
like, I
Same.
just don't.
Right.
in our job,
Yeah.
more people should be like that.
I
But
totally
I don't
agree.
think
There-
does it matter that much to keep changing it.
Yeah.
There were certain sentences that I was very tied to in the way that
Do
I
you
said
have
any
certain
certain
things, and I was
yeah.
like, she changed this, and I get why she did, but I don't want to.
Are there any
change
words
it.
that
Sure,
come
yeah,
straight to
respect.
mind right now?
No, there was just like some descriptions and like ways that I said things that like there was a reason why I said it the way that I did.
Mhm.
And like obviously she wouldn't know that was
Right.
why I said it that way, or
Understood.
you know what I mean?
It's
Like
totally fair.
And you both, I'm assuming you both, like, were there things that you said no to?
yeah.
Oh
you're-
yeah.
Oh,
Oh
cool.
yeah.
I see. I love.
absolutely,
I
yeah.
like that you're able
It's
to.
so collaborative.
Yeah, it is, and you're able to not be butthurt about it. Like, that's the
No,
biggest.
we
for
made
sure.
the suggestions,
Well, it's
and it's
not-
up to her to
Yeah.
figure
not
out
just
whether or
my
not.
book. Right?
Exactly.
It's Erica's book
And I
too.
love that you're able to, like, I feel like that's harder to do than these two people are very chill. Like, I know I just
Yeah.
met you, Olivia, but I can feel the
You're
vibes.
chill, man.
They're very chill, but like when you think of like writers, you know, there's times where I'm sure it's really hard for some people to like come
Oh,
to
for
that.
some, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Well,
But and I think
Writers
it's
are
I think
like
it's a good
notoriously perfectionists.
yeah, and I think
so,
it's
yeah,
a
that
good
wouldn't surprise me.
inspiration that you guys like have this story. Like I think it's neat, and I think a lot of people could, you know, look up to
I'm
that.
curious how other writers do it,
Mm.
because I know a lot of romance writers do this do the split.
I think that's the best way to do it.
But I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
If they, I
Cut
don't
it.
know if they do it.
Workload cut in half.
I don't know how
Well,
else
that's
you
it.
would.
Yeah, like I wrote half a book,
Mhm.
like
That's
almost
true.
exactly half a book.
So
Yeah,
what was
right.
like so you guys were writing the chapter simultaneously. When you get to the end, what's that process like? Do you go back and read the entire thing? Like, are you both doing
Once
that?
we're
Like,
done?
Yeah, once you
Yeah.
finish.
We did each go back and read. So Erica went through first,
Okay.
and then I took the manuscript and I put it through Grammarly.
Oh, nice.
Good
so
old
I
Grammarly.
I know I
Did you
fucking
find a lot of
love
stuff?
Grammarly, dude. Not a lot, no.
No?
Just like
That's cool.
condensing,
That's good.
concising.
That's a
Yeah,
good, like,
I
ego
actually
boost.
learned from Grammarly
Yes,
too.
me too.
That's so neat.
Yeah, it is nice. Yeah,
One of my
so-
bosses made fun of me because I had Grammarly. I'm like,
No, fuck them.
Does that
Are you
cost
kidding
money?
me?
yes,
Yeah. How
much?
$100 a year.
It's so
It's
worth
worth
it.
it.
It's worth it.
If you're
That's not that bad.
If you're writing a lot, it was worth it.
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you were writing one book,
Yeah.
one book, it is
That's true.
worth putting your
Yeah.
book through it.
Do you
For
feel like it
sure.
does a really good job? Do you like it's
I
accurate?
do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I
That's
do.
cool.
I think it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't notice. Like I said, I noticed maybe one thing in your book, but I
Yeah.
didn't notice anything else, which is like insane. Because
Right.
we've talked about this before. Sometimes you get these indie books and they're just like
No, for sure.
completely filled with grammar things, which
Mhm.
I personally can look past. Like I don't care.
Yeah,
but I know
I
you
also
do.
don't care. There are still errors and like it through.
Yeah, I don't care about that stuff at all.
Okay.
I know
I'm not
you.
changing it.
Honestly,
I'm not.
I think the way we wrote it, where it was like you write it, maybe you read through it again, she reads it, and then it's
Yeah.
done.
Did you send it
Mm.
out
It
to?
it allows for you to not tinker, and I think when you
Yeah,
tinker,
that's good.
Yep.
That's good.
that's when you start making errors.
Totally.
That's how I live with my editing
Yeah.
life too. It's
Same.
like if I'm video editing and I start tinkering with it, I'm like, nope, it's done. I had to send it out.
It's done,
True.
yeah.
If I keep fucking around with it, it's gonna get worse.
Did you send it out to beta readers? Like,
Mhm.
oh, you did.
did,
How do
yes.
you choose? I never understand this process. How do you choose?
We didn't.
They
just
did
gave
a
it to
application.
everyone.
Yeah, we
Oh.
just sent out ARCs.
Our
too.
beta readers, we did specific people that we have had beta read before.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
that we trusted.
Yeah,
You have to trust them. You
That's
know?
the thing. Like, how do you trust people?
How many
Like,
do we
you-
have?
We only
Like
did
5?
four or five.
4 or 5, yeah.
Okay. And then you put out like an arc, you said.
And then we
did
we
the
put
ARC
out the
list.
ARC form.
The ARC form.
How do you just pick random people? Like, all they have to do is sign up and it's like a sure thing? Or do you like kind of vet people?
Maybe if we had like an overwhelming number of requests,
Okay.
we would have
We had
vetted
100.
them.
Dang.
100 people wanted to read the arc.
We
Yeah.
sent them
Wow.
all. We sent them all.
Are you serious?
Yeah, fuck it.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah.
I saw all the
That's
people
really
posting like, I
cool.
can't believe I got this. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
I know.
I love
so
that.
sweet.
That's really neat.
We basically decided that like we wanted to just send it.
I
to
fucking
Yeah,
asked
we're
you
like,
for the
fuck
arc
it.
and you were like, no.
No.
Yeah, because I wanted you to fucking pay for it.
Yeah, on Kindle.
I didn't pay for it. I just
Yes,
read
you
it on
did.
It's
Kindle.
available
Yeah,
on
but-
Kindle Unlimited.
Oh.
Pay for it with your subscription.
Oh, that's so
Kristen.
funny.
That's why we didn't. That's why we didn't get
That's
the
why
arc.
you didn't get the
Well,
arc.
I wanted
you
to
dumb
read it
bitch.
early. That's all I was saying.
No, I paid.
I wanted
for
the
every
money.
page.
I would have swiped through regardless.
So yeah, that was.
So funny.
I'm really thankful for our ARC readers because they
Oh, yeah,
they
me
were
too.
super excited. They posted a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff. Like
That's
it
cool.
was very cool to see like just people getting excited about your work and
Yeah.
like being excited about.
I know we
the
were
process.
talking about the writing process, but I do want to touch on the publishing process a little bit because I think it
Sure.
would benefit a lot of people. So in the last episode for Fated Enemies, you talked about how you were more of a publishing, not perfectionist, but like you knew publishing better than,
I have trial and error self-publishing.
and you do it without spending money.
I don't spend any
How
money.
the fuck can you publish a book without spending money?
With great patience.
How? Yeah, walk
well,
us
I
through it.
self-edit. Well, no, that's not true. Erica edited
Yep.
my retreat novellas for me pro bono.
Nice.
I love you, baby.
Yeah, very good.
I self-edited Lycanthrope,
Uh-huh.
and you can tell.
So there, for getting it onto Kindle Unlimited,
Mhm.
how do you even do that? Like, are you signing into Amazon and like submitting
So you
it?
sign into KDP. So KDP,
Okay.
Kindle Direct Publishing. That's
Oh,
Kindle
it's a
Direct
site.
Publishing's website.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So there's a whole like dashboard for you. Basically, you sign in. You can upload your manuscript. You fill out like all of the information, right? Like, Amazon too. Not all self-publishing companies do this. Amazon will assign you a free ISBN.
Oh.
So you do not have to pay for like, the barcode on the back of your book. Yep, that's the
Oh,
website
cool,
right there.
cool. You know when sometimes you open Kindle Unlimited, it's like books that you'll be interested in or like a front page. Is there a way to like apply for that or they just take it off of what's
I
doing
think
well?
they like, it's kind of like your Instagram feed, right? Like
it's
they,
like analytical.
Yeah.
type.
yeah.
I
they,
think you
like,
can
look
pay
at
for
your-
sponsorship though.
You can.
Really? Can you?
I think so.
I don't know. I have never.
Sure you
Again,
can.
I do this without spending any money, so I don't know.
love that. I think that's really cool. It just
yeah,
goes to
it's
show, like, if you're, you want to write a book and you're like, I don't know where to start, this helps. And also, I don't know
this
how
is
to not
easy.
spend
Formatting is hard,
money. Yeah.
but there are platforms you can use that will do formatting for you. You can also pay for somebody to format for you through like
True.
Fiverr or like Upwork or
And like
something
honestly,
that.
like $40, $50.
Yeah, not a
like,
lot. Yeah,
like-
I mean, you have to send your manuscript to someone, which is scary, but
Yeah, but make him sign an
You
NDA
know.
kind of thing. And
But there's
Yeah,
also
for
the
sure.
option to do what Erica did, and that's just like pay for everything, right?
yeah.
You basically
or you
like
can pay
got
for
a
it. So
publishing
yeah, what
package.
Erica did was hybrid publishing,
Yeah, it's a self-publishing. Basically, you
like
just
pay to self-publish.
Yeah, you just send them your
Interesting.
shit,
So
and
they
they
like do all the work for you.
they do the copyright, they do
Mhm.
the IBSN number, they do like all of your formatting.
They do your cover work.
no, that's extra. Oh, you can pay extra for that.
Oh, right.
You can pay somebody to edit. Like it's all
Mhm.
it's all a la carte.
So you have options. You could,
But
think
I
Menlo
would-
Park does that too.
I would
Yeah.
say like where I went through was pretty expensive. Like I
Mm.
paid like $1,000 for all of that.
right.
The reason I did it the way that I did it the first time is because I had no idea how to publish anything. I didn't know what I needed.
Yeah.
I was new in the book world. I
Mm.
barely had I had only read X amount of books in my
Right.
life. And I didn't know about Kindle Unlimited. I didn't know about like all these platforms and the way that they work. And I had no understanding or like foundation of
you
any
need
of
a
this
crash
stuff.
course.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pay somebody to fucking do this for
No,
me.
yeah, for sure.
That's why I
yeah.
think this
I
helps.
respect that.
This helps a lot. I think
But
hearing
now
what you're
that I've
definitely.
done
Yeah.
that, I'm never gonna pay for somebody to do
Right,
it. You know what I mean? Like
well,
now
now
I
you can
have
be more selective. Now maybe you could spend some more money on like cover work next time,
True, yeah.
or like if you want to get like a really good editor, if you want like
That's where I would
chapter
put my money. My money
headings,
would be
like-
on
yeah,
like
Story
line
editing.
editors and story editors.
Yeah.
sure.
To make sure that it all makes
I
sense.
would
Yeah, smart.
For me personally, I will never publish a book without a line edit.
Yeah, I hear
Never.
that.
I will
That's
never
fair.
do it.
I hear that.
And I know a lot of
It's
people
risky.
are like, they say they can self-edit and blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you right now, there
No.
you can feel the fucking difference.
Yeah.
And I know, and I can see it in my own work, even with just like Olivia doing my line edits.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That like, it's just tighter.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it all paid off. I think you have a very solid book. And I think that
It's fun. It's not like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
next fucking like Lord of the Rings, you know?
I think that's
Yeah.
a really good advice. I think you've given a lot of really good advice in this, and I think this is really good for like inspiring writers and maybe even like younger folks who are looking to get into it. So
I definitely
Cool.
recommend like writing with somebody too, though.
Yeah,
because
it's just
one
even
thing,
if nothing else, it's just fun.
Yeah.
it's a good
Yeah.
experiment too.
but I think one thing that really changes the dynamic in terms of your story is you have somebody who's equally invested in your story as you are, because you're both their names are on this,
I love that.
and you can bounce back and forth ideas.
Yeah.
Plus, you're obligated.
So you're always
Yeah.
you're always gonna have better ideas when you're brainstorming with somebody
Yeah.
else.
Right. Because
And
you
they're
match,
just as
each
in-
other's energy.
Yeah, and you're just as invested because it's both of your fucking thing.
Yeah.
So like me and Olivia were sitting there sometimes like talking about stuff, and it's like she wouldn't like. Yeah, maybe she would like as a friend to some degree, but not as often,
Right.
or as in depth,
Right.
or you know what I mean,
Yeah, it
like
would've
as
stopped what I
invested.
might not have stopped what I was doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you might not come to the best idea because you might automatically be like, well, my idea is better because it's my idea, it's my
Right.
book. You feel that entitlement
For sure.
versus like, no, I have to meet my partner in the middle here.
Yeah.
And you kind of
Maybe-
have to write too. You're like, well, I
Yeah.
have to. Somebody is counting on me
Yeah.
to get, and I think that's a really cool.
It
cool
keeps
thing.
you accountable.
Join
Yeah,
like
true.
join a writers group. We've talked about this in
Yeah.
our Discord. I think it helps to have people like in your corner. Once you say it out loud, like to those people, you're like, well, I'm doing this thing. You almost feel a sense of like, well, no, I have to because people know about it. Like,
Depends.
yeah, true.
Depends.
Well, if you're
'Cause
writing
there
with
are
them,
people, there are
People
people who are
understand
like,
you don't like.
no, but if there are people who just saying it feels as if they've done it.
well,
so they
that's
don't
true
do
too.
anything.
That's true too. But
That's
if you're
why I haven't done shit.
But if you're writing
Huh.
and then they're like reading it with you, I feel like that's a really good way to stay on track.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
for
say
sure.
this. I've said this in previous episodes about talking about writing. My book, any book that I write that I've completed, let's say Flight Risk or Fated Enemies, is better than any of the books that you haven't written.
That's a really good.
Yep,
that's true.
Like, and not to be an
That's a
asshole,
fucking mic drop. No, you're right because you did it.
but like you didn't
No,
do like.
true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, writing half a book is not writing a full book.
You're
It's just
absolutely
you
right.
Yeah, you're right.
You didn't do the hard part of it, which is the editing.
It's like you're
first
taking
of
the
all.
knife and
So
stabbing
many-
her
I
over
know,
and
I
over.
just,
like called out right now.
No, but I'm
True,
saying
though.
I'm saying it as a motivational,
Yeah.
as like.
I don't know if it's motivating.
But like no, but I'm saying even the shittiest you could put
I
the
know, yeah.
shittiest
I know,
thing
yeah.
out in the world,
Coronavirus is better than.
and it's still better than anything you
Yeah.
haven't done
It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
or somebody else hasn't done. So if somebody wants to sit there and go, your book is shit, I'd be like, all right, let me see your fucking book.
Yeah, right. Word. Word.
True though.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Um,
So just
That's why I
write.
can't
So
review
write it.
books anymore either.
yeah.
It's like, you know,
Well,
like,
you can.
You still have an opinion.
No, but like even those opinions or those that are intense, being like this was written badly and this has the. I'm like,
Oh, that's
is
why.
it?
That's
Is
why
it? 'Cause
I
did
won't
you write
talk
it?
about
No.
Guild
Yeah.
on my Instagram. Like everybody's like review Guild, and I'm like I can't.
Well, thank you guys for seriously. Thank you for sitting down and talking about Olivia. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
This was-
driving all the way over here.
This is
loved
awesome.
it.
I think that this is really valuable, and I think that we can all learn a lot from this.
I
And
love these kind of discussions.
And I can't wait to see what y'all
Eps.
write next because you're gonna keep writing.
yeah.
right?
Honestly, I like very heavily recommend the Olivia's like novellas too. I haven't read Lycanthrope because I don't read YA. No offense, but
I don't blame you. No, it's fine. Don't read it if you're not gonna like it. Don't read it.
I did click through the entire book though.
You
Oh
did.
my God.
That's
Oh,
a friend.
I thought you meant
Friend.
to just. Oh,
No,
I got
no,
you.
to
I
give
got
her
you.
the money.
Get her the
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
on
yeah.
Kindle.
Yeah.
I'll
But
do
you
that
have
too.
to do it at a certain speed.
I'll
like,
read
you
it.
can't
Yeah.
just go, you have to
No,
go, like,
no, no.
one,
I did
two,
I did it
three.
slowly over time.
Oh my
I'll
god,
read-
you
I'll
did
read
it
it.
forever. Jeez.
I did it like whatever, and it doesn't matter.
Thank you.
But I'm saying Catalina. Wait, what's it's the retreat?
Catalina,
Yeah.
and then
And
retreat
then-
Long Beach Liner.
Yeah.
Cool.
Again, I edited them, but I.
She's like, I'm partial.
I'm in the
But
acknowledgements.
they are-
Thanks very much.
They're great little smutty like
Mhm.
novellas.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
And also follow Olivia on Instagram. Olivia, what's your handle?
It's O Rose.
And if you want to learn more about her writing, she also has a writing Instagram account.
Olivia is writing.
And there's a lot of fun little tips and tricks on there, which I think is really helpful too.
And memes.
And memes, lots of memes. Thank you everybody
That's
for
an art to do memes.
Thank you.
True. Thank you everybody for listening. Follow us on Bookstagram. Oh, why did I say that? On Instagram, books_n_betches, BETCHES. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Just look up Books and Betches if you want to see these podcasts. Go be a Patreon member if you want. You can have the chance to be on this podcast.
And see outtakes and fun times.
Yeah, it's awesome over there.
You know, you never touted the TikTok. But we also do have
TikTok
the
is
Erica
a scary
has a TikTok.
TikTok is a scary place.
Yeah.
But if you want to follow us on TikTok, you can do that too. Just look up Books and Betches. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.